Well, Mort Künstler is one of the foremost historical artists in the United States. His extraordinary attention to detail, combined with his keen interest in American history, allows him to create paintings that reflect the breadth of the American experience. The Long Island resident joins Chris now to talk about his art.
All right, thank you, Colleen. Mr. Künstler, it's really a pleasure having you here.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
You are so enormously, I mean, I don't want to sit here and shine your apple all morning, but you are so enormously talented and gifted. It's really a pleasure to talk to you. I've always wanted to ask somebody like you this question. As an artist, do you have a different perception of what you see than we do? Is there some sort of creative perception you see beyond the imagery that we get? Do you know what I mean by that?
I just know my own way of seeing things, so I can't really answer it intelligently. But I think there are times when I notice things that other people don't notice. Let me put it that way. I notice details that the average person doesn't notice, and so I guess I do have some sort of unique way of seeing things.
What interested you in your specific genre of art, historical painting?
Well, I think it was a combination of a number of things. Artists aren't too different than other people. They are out to make a living, and I started out as an illustrator and seemed to have an extraordinary skill for composing complicated illustrations and telling the story directly. And as a result, I got a great deal of work as an illustrator, and it trained me for this kind of painting, which was very popular 100 or 150 years ago in Europe, primarily France, and fell into disfavor, and the art market or the art area today is primarily abstract art, and I'm sort of like a lone beacon, the only one that's working in the style of 100 or 150 years ago. So as a result, I am just overwhelmed with commissions, and my calendar is pretty full.
I'm glad that you are the only one left, because we want to show our audience just how important the fact that you're the only one left is, because this is a series that was done on immigrants. Look at that. That is beautiful.
That was painted, well, it's the immigrants coming through Ellis Island, and they're looking at the New York skyline. This is while they're waiting in the main hall at Ellis Island, and worried and terribly fearful of what is held in store for them in the new land. There's hope and desperation, and a lot of people don't realize there were over 3,000 suicides at Ellis Island, because sometimes families were torn apart. Sometimes a youngster couldn't come in because of a disease or whatever, and an adult had to go back. And you have to realize that these people left something that was awful, so they were going back to either imprisonment or death very often. And this is a story of the immigrants that was not told. Of course, here they were providing their own entertainment while they waited endless hours for final clearance. This is a painting that was commissioned by the Pica Foundation in North Carolina. They are a nonprofit institution that funds scholarships at Clemson University, and it shows Benjamin Franklin and James Madison reading the first press proofs of the Constitution, and it is to commemorate our 200th anniversary of the Constitution and the 100th anniversary of the Printers Institute of America. So that was my way of solving that commission, that particular one.
It's called We the People, 1787.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful illustration. This is your book, which I looked at last night, and I tell you, this ought to be in everyone's home. It's called The American Spirit by Mort Künstler. And it's really a compilation of some of your work, kind of a history of what you're all about as an artist.
Yes, it is. It's published by Harry and Abrams, and it is doing very well in the bookstores, and it can be ordered pretty much through any bookstore.
It's tremendous. When I was watching those the illustrations on the immigrants, what you were able to capture, you're able to capture the hope and the sense of hope, and also the sense of loss, because after all, these people were leaving their homeland, even though they were here and they were starting a whole new life, and they were thrilled to death, a lot of them, to be here. There's still a great sense of that angst that they took over here.
They were really so many desperate. You have to realize that series is available in print form from of a company called Dietz Art Limited in New York City, and they have a very unique process, and the footage that you saw was not filmed from the original paintings. They are almost, you could almost call them replicas. I was over in West Germany last spring working on them in the shops, and then went back over the summer to sign the prints when they were finally completed. And it is absolutely remarkable. It's done with color after color, and the thickness of the paint is actually on it, and it is also done on canvas, I might add.
We're going to do this again sometime because I can sit and talk to you for a long time, but you know what television's like, right?
Oh, sure.
Get the old, gotta go. Mort Künstler, thanks a million.
Okay.
All right.